Hi, I'm Ted, part of the engineering team here at SVR Tracking, and I've been installing tracking and telematics devices on everything imaginable for 25 years. As a mobile electronics certified professional, or MECP first class installer, I know a few tips and tricks that make your installations go faster and become more professional. Okay, let's go into today's episode. In this episode, we're going to be covering the SVR wired tracker on a motorcycle using the sleek SVR1510EV. We will be covering the tools required and the mounting location of the module today, and the basic steps you will need to do a professional installation. Let's get started. So this is the model SVR1510EV. This is our rugged waterproof system. And as you can see here, I've already hooked it up to power, and we've got an orange and a green light. These are our indicators for cellular and GPS coverage. If the green light is flashing, it means it's still searching for GPS signal. If it's solid, it means it's locked onto the GPS network. The orange is the same thing except for with the cellular covers network. If it's flashing, it's still looking for a network. If it's locked into orange, solid, it means it's found the network and it's currently attached. The wires on this device are relatively simple. We only have 4 of them. The power and ground are our black and our red. Red is for constant 12 volt source. That means that no matter the position of the key in the vehicle, this wire will always have 12 volts. The black is our chassis ground, or earth in other terminology. Those two are mandatory to be used on the device. It will not work properly without these 2 wires hooked up correctly. The other 2 are optional wires for this installation. The white is a switched lead input, which is ignition, which means that if the key is off, it has no voltage. If the key is on, it shows 12 volts. This is a indicator of whether the car is on or not for the device. It does not need to be used, but can be used if wanted. The green here is for an optional accessory referred to as a starter kill. This is a negative triggered output. When activated, it will go to a ground output. We offer a starter kill relay as an optional accessory for that purpose. As you can see, it also has a green wire which connects to the green wire here. And then these 2 wires simply interrupt the starter wire to the vehicle. So with the model SVR1510EV, these are the tools that would be required or possibly needed in order to install this device. We have your heat shrink, which is for our solder and seal connectors, which we will show you in another video. We have our pick tools, crimps, our meter, flashlight, 10mm ratchet and socket, and our panel poppers. We also have some black tape, and that should cover most of what you need, as well as your strippers. So once you've got the panels taken apart and you've got the device in a location where you want it and securely mounted, you can pull your wires down and we will connect them with our crimp connectors. These are a seamless crimp connector, meaning there is no seam in the metal inside. These are far superior than a seamed connector, as the seam connector, when crimped, can often leave a hollow space and not get a good solid crimp. Now, because we're connecting a 10 gauge to a 20 gauge or 18 gauge, the wire difference is quite drastic. So using a 10 gauge connector, we're going to need to strip this back further and double it over to give us a good solid piece of wire to grab onto. So once you've done that, you're going to put your wire into the connector, take your crimps onto the connector, make sure it's locked into the good slot, and give it a good crimp. Now you can see that's, even though it's a 20 gauge wire, it's solidly connected. After that, I'm going to put my 10 gauge in here. And again, we're going to give it a good crimp. Once you've done that, you've got a good solid connection. Pull on it several times to make sure it's not going to come apart. And then just to be safe, we're going to cover that with black tape and make sure that the electrical connection is secure and not in a place that can be touching metal or ground, causing a short or a blown fuse. Tear it off and make sure that the ends of the connector are what you're taping off. The connector itself is already insulated. Our objective with the tape is to cover the two ends near the opening so that no wire can be exposed and you've still got a good solid connection. You'll repeat that process for your ground wire as well. Double it over and just repeat the crimp process. So now that is what we call a butt connector, a seamless butt connector. They are very functional and work quite well if they're crimped properly with a proper pair of crimpers. The best connection out on the market, in our opinion, is what's called a solder and seal. Now this comes with a small piece of solder in the center of the connector, and the entire outside of it is a heat shrink material. For this, you simply take the wire, put it on the inside of the connector, take your other one, put it on the other side of the connector, and once those are together, you simply take a heat gun and heat the entire butt connector up. It will melt the solder, heat the shrink, and shrink up and seal it completely. After which you're going to do the same thing with the black tape and seal up the ends. Although the heat shrink will work better than a normal connector, we still recommend that you cover it with black tape to secure it properly. Let's get started putting this wired device in this motorcycle. This is a waterproof device, which you'll want for a vehicle like this, being it's going to be in the weather a lot. So first we're going to determine a mounting location. Normally on a motorcycle we're going to do the front fairing or the rear fairing because of the motor and the gas tank all here are a little too hot and you don't want to put it in that area. So let's start by taking off this seat here, this fairing cover. And then we just pop this seat out. And as you can see, that exposes our battery, which will give us our power and our ground. So we'll take our meter real quick. This is a 12-volt meter. In the DC 12-volt position, we'll put our ground to the ground terminal, red to the positive. You can see we have 12.96 volts, a good constant power source. You're going to take your device and make sure on these devices that when you install it, you put it label facing down. The GPS antenna is on the bottom. So once we do that, we're going to put our wires through here. Now when you're running your wires, it's often easier to tape a zip tie to your wires and push the zip tie through and then just pull it through to get a good clean wire one. Once you get your wires run through here, you're going to get connectors. Take these off, hook up your ground, and put it back on. Repeat that process with the power. After putting on a crimp connector, make sure you get a good crimp on there and crimp on the seam side. Once that's connected, you want to mount your device here securely with either zip ties and securely mount it into the vehicle. Once that's in place, your device should be functional and you can replace the fairing and the seat. So again, with all installations, you're looking for an open space that has room, a flat surface for the GPS antenna to face the sky. The device can be installed pretty much anywhere in the vehicle as long as there's no metal above the device that will block the antenna. You want to keep it away from heat, moving parts, vibration, and any moisture or water content. These are waterproof, so that should help, but it's always best to put it where water's not going to get. So again, under here, in this case, we have all of those boxes ticked off. We have no moisture, we have no metal above the device, no vibration, other than the motorcycle itself is going to vibrate, but you can't help that. And there's no moving parts in this area. So with the front, sometimes with the steering and the headlights and the cowling, you'll have more moving parts than you would in the rear. So that's why I choose the rear in most applications. On this particular bike, our front fairing is very small and doesn't have much room underneath it, so I'm not going to put it in there because there's really no room. Some vehicles will alter different locations as far as the rear fairing or the front fairing, just find the best location where the device can be faced up and has access to a constant power source and a ground. In this case, our constant power source and ground is our battery right below the seat, so we have a very short run. The short run gives us a lot of benefits that include less resistance and less chance of having a problem. So once that's installed, we're going to go ahead and put it back together. And there you go. Wait, you're not done. Make sure to follow these steps to ensure a professional installation. Step 1, make sure the device is tested, activated, and has good signal strength by following the steps in the installation guide. Step 2, use your smartphone and take a quick video showing the location that the device is mounted in, the serial numbers for the device, the license plate of the vehicle, and keep that for your records. Double check the install in step 3 with a final look over for any trash or things you may have missed to ensure a professional installation. Thank you. On behalf of the engineering team and the entire SVR tracking family, we thank you for being part of our family of resellers. If you have any questions, we are here to support you any way we can. Just log in to SVRtracking.com and make sure to check out our other videos for additional tips and tricks.